Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're so glad you're here. Today, we're taking a closer look at someone who has become one of the most talked about names in celebrity news over the past few years, Inés de Ramón. While many people recognize her because of her relationship with Hollywood star Brad Pitt, there's a fascinating story behind her that goes far beyond celebrity headlines. She's a successful business professional, a multilingual global citizen, and someone who has built an impressive career while intentionally keeping much of her personal life out of the spotlight. But before we dive in, let me ask you something. Why do we so often define people by who they're dating instead of taking the time to learn about who they really are? It's an interesting question because, in many ways, Inés de Ramón's story challenges that very habit. Unlike many people who suddenly find themselves in the public eye, Inés wasn't chasing fame. Long before entertainment magazines began writing about her, she had already established herself in the luxury jewelry industry. Born in the United States and educated internationally, she attended the University of Geneva, where she earned a degree in business administration. Her international upbringing also helped her become fluent in several languages, including English, Spanish, French, and German. Now think about that for a moment. How much could your world change if you could communicate with people from different cultures and backgrounds? Language isn't just about speaking words. It's about building connections, understanding different perspectives, and creating opportunities that might never exist otherwise. After completing her education, Inés pursued a career that had nothing to do with acting or entertainment. Instead, she entered the world of luxury jewelry, working with respected brands before becoming an executive with renowned jewelry designer Anita Ko. Her work placed her in one of the world's most competitive luxury industries, where professionalism, attention to detail, and strong relationships are essential. That says something important. Success doesn't always happen on a stage or in front of cameras. Sometimes it happens quietly, behind the scenes, through years of dedication and consistency. How often do we overlook people making an incredible impact simply because they aren't constantly in the spotlight? It's worth thinking about. Before becoming linked to Brad Pitt, Inés was married to actor Paul Wesley, who many fans know from The Vampire Diaries. The two married in 2019 after several years together and generally kept their relationship private. In 2022, they announced that they had separated, emphasizing that the decision was mutual and respectful. Life has a way of surprising us, doesn't it? Sometimes relationships that seem permanent eventually come to an end, opening doors to entirely new chapters we never expected. Later that same year, rumors began circulating that Inés was spending time with Brad Pitt. At first, it was exactly what you'd expect whenever one of Hollywood's biggest stars is involved: speculation, paparazzi photos, and endless discussions across entertainment media. But here's what stood out. Neither Brad nor Inés rushed to make dramatic announcements or constantly share details about their relationship. Instead, they simply continued living their lives. Over time, they were photographed together at concerts, sporting events, vacations, and eventually appeared publicly at major occasions like the Venice Film Festival. Even with growing public interest, they continued maintaining a relatively private relationship. That raises an interesting question. In today's world, where people often feel pressure to share every moment online, is privacy becoming one of the greatest luxuries anyone can have? Many would probably say yes. One thing that has impressed many observers is the way Inés has handled the sudden attention. Imagine spending years working successfully in your profession without attracting much public interest, only to wake up one day and discover photographers following you simply because of who you're dating. That would be overwhelming for almost anyone. Yet she has continued focusing on her career while largely avoiding public controversy or unnecessary attention. That kind of composure isn't easy. It reminds us that confidence doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes true confidence is simply continuing to live your life without allowing outside opinions to define you. Another fascinating part of her story is her interest in health and wellness. In addition to her work in luxury jewelry, Inés has also earned certification as a health coach, showing that she's someone who values continuous learning and personal growth. Think about that for a moment. How often do we allow ourselves to be defined by just one job title? Life is rarely that simple. People have multiple passions, talents, and interests. Perhaps one of the biggest lessons from Inés's journey is that we shouldn't reduce people to a single headline. When people hear her name today, many immediately think of Brad Pitt. But long before that relationship became public, she had already built an impressive resume, developed expertise in an international industry, and created a successful professional life on her own terms. That's an achievement worth recognizing. It's easy to forget that behind every headline is a real person with years of experiences that most people never hear about. Maybe that's why her story has captured so much attention. It reminds us that there's often far more beneath the surface than celebrity gossip can ever reveal. As interest in her life continues to grow, many people wonder what comes next. Will she become more involved in the public eye? Will she continue building her career in luxury fashion and jewelry? Will she maintain the same level of privacy despite increasing media attention? But based on everything we've seen so far, one thing seems clear. She appears determined to continue living life according to her own values rather than allowing public curiosity to dictate her choices. And honestly, that's something many of us can admire. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into the life and career of Inés de Ramón, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps our channel continue bringing you thoughtful stories about the people making headlines around the world, while exploring the journeys that often go unnoticed. Thank you so much for watching. Stay curious, stay kind, and we'll see you in the next video.